just wanted to give you guys a pregnancy update. I am currently 20 weeks today. Thank goodness I made it halfway through my pregnancy. I just got 4 more months left to go. So just wanted to let you guys know how I've been feeling, how I've been dealing with my emotions of this surprise pregnancy since it was unplanned. So this is kind of how I've been doing, how I've been feeling. So if you go to my pregnancy video at 39, surprise pregnancy video, in that video I talk about how this was a complete surprise, unplanned pregnancy, and how it has been pretty hard on me because I've already have 4 kids. So this is my 5th child. And we were done, me and my husband were done having kids. And so it was a pretty big shock, especially since I'm 39 now and I was just done. My youngest daughter is 3 and I was finally feeling pretty free and able to do a lot of things that I wanted to finally do and done. My daughter is, potty trained, she's done nursing, she's done with all that baby stuff. So this was a huge shock for me and my husband to get the surprise that, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant now again with baby number 5, and I'm 39, gonna have this baby when I'm 39. So that has been really hard for me to deal with. And the reason why is because, like I said, I already have a lot of kids. And I just felt like I finally wanted to get, my freedom back and do things that I wanted to be able to do. And also have my body back, because when you have a baby, it does take a lot out of your body with the nursing, and obviously when you're pregnant, stretching, going through all of that. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot to have to go through all those hormonal changes, all those body changes, everything. And obviously you can't do a lot of things that maybe you would normally do when you were not pregnant. So having to go through that again is, exhausting, and it's a long thing. It's not just 9 months and you're done. Now you have a baby, and now, you're going to be breastfeeding if you do choose to breastfeed, which I will. So that's another thing that is, super exhausting, is just having to breastfeed now. So now I have to breastfeed, and I want to breastfeed, my baby for at least 2 years. So, I mean, I guess depending on the baby, but, it's around that amount, 1 to 2 years. So that's a, really long time that you're still not getting your body back to yourself, and taking care of a newborn infant is obviously a lot of work. So that is why I've been dealing with like these emotions of, and it was a really tough decision because I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep the baby or not in the beginning because of that, just because I was just so done with all of that, and I wanted to get my body back, be able to do the things that I wanted to do in life and not be having to, take care of a little infant newborn again. So, and then the breastfeeding too, is another thing that your body goes through, the engorgement, all of that pain. And also not, I'm not really free because my baby has to pretty much be attached to me in order to nurse the baby, and the baby needs to nurse often, especially in the beginning. But, and I know there's pumps and things like that you could do, but I hated that. I already went through that, and I did that. I did the pumping thing. I just hate doing the pumping thing. It's so uncomfortable. It have to be hooked up to this machine, at the wall. I can't walk around and do things. And so that part I really, really disliked, having to just be stuck and, feel like a cow, like I'm being milked, which I am. So that part I really disliked. And, pumping's hard. Pumping is not easy. It's not something where you just, okay, 10 minutes, I've got, the whole day's worth. I mean, it is a long lot, everyday process. You have to pump in order to have your child have adequate milk to drink. And so that is just a lot of work. And so I pretty much, with my daughter Macy, I just solely breastfed her. I mean, there were some times here and there that I would pump and she would have some milk, but pretty much it would basically just be me nursing her. So that was super stressful because obviously you had to have the baby with you all the time. I can't just go leave for hours and hours and then what is she gonna eat? What's the baby gonna eat? So the same thing is going through my head again with this baby, that I'm gonna have to go through that again. And that's part of my freedom, honestly, that's been taken away from me, that I am struggling with, having those feelings of, I can't believe this is going to happen all over again. And this is, years process, at least for me. I know everybody's different. Everybody, I mean, it's fine if you formula feed, because I did the same thing too. I know there's different things that everybody does, but this is just my situation, my specific situation, and what I feel is best for, my family, what I would want to do. And so I would want to breastfeed, and I would want to, pretty much solely breastfeed. I mean, I'm not against, going ahead and giving the baby a bottle here and there and stuff, but that was what I was saying. It's the problem of me pumping. And I did formula feed my other children. I actually formula fed all my children, my daughter Lily, who is now 18, then my son Nathan, who is about to be 10, then my son Jace, who is 6. So I actually formula fed all of them up until my daughter Macy, and I nursed her. But I didn't want to formula feed them. I wanted to breastfeed all of my children, but it just didn't work out that way. With my first daughter, I was having really problems with her latching on. I was a young mother too. I wasn't in a good relationship at all. It was very mentally abusive relationship, so I wasn't in the right mind frame either. And but I did try to nurse her, and I just didn't have the support. I really didn't have the support, and I was pretty much by myself. And so that was really hard. And I actually tried to nurse her for 2 weeks straight. I was just trying to nurse her, and she was really little. She was only like 5 pounds when she was born, and she was not getting the milk. She was not latching on. I was not getting sleep. She wasn't getting sleep. We were just exhausted. So then I turned to formula, and that worked right away. She, drank the bottle and everything was fine. So after that experience with my son Nathan, I wanted to nurse him too, but I just didn't want to go through the whole thing again of failing, and I just felt like a failure the first time. So the second time with my son Nathan, I just decided to formula feed him just right off the bat. So I formula fed him, and I felt awful about it because I felt like he needed, my milk, and also, the hormones and the things that you're going through when, you have a baby, that definitely plays a factor into it. So I, was again pretty upset with myself that I didn't do that. But so then with my son Jace, I was determined again, I'm gonna go ahead and breastfeed. So I did. I actually breastfed him for the first month, and everything seemed to be going okay with him with the breastfeeding. And then there was just one night where I just remember he would not latch on at all, and I was so exhausted. And he was actually my hardest baby to deal with because he would just wake up like constantly through the night. It was just, I just felt like I never slept. I felt like a zombie. And so it was just one night where it was, another exhausting, just not getting sleep, and he would not latch on. And so then we had a sample of formula, and I just decided, my husband was getting a little bit frustrated because I was getting frustrated. So then we decided, let's just give him formula so we can get some sleep. So I gave him formula, and then, formula was always easy. Every single time they took the bottle right away with all three of my kids. They took the bottle right away. And so once he took the bottle and was easy, I just stuck to it. I don't know. I just stopped, nursing. And I was mad at myself again for stopping nursing, but it was just so much easier at the time to give the formula that, through a bottle, that I just stopped. So then with my daughter Macy, I was really determined to actually, breastfeed. And so I did, and that was like the best decision I ever did. And it was actually honestly easier than formula, with having to, you know, obviously we have to measure out how much formula, the water, warming it up, getting the bottle. It was just so much easier just to be able to sleep with my baby when they have to eat a lot during the night and roll over and just give them the boob. It was just so much easier. And I just was like amazed at, oh my God, like why didn't I really try harder with all my other kids? But you know, obviously everybody's, you know, different and every situation is different. And at the time that just, it didn't work out for me. So, but I always felt really horrible and guilty about not nursing, you know, giving them breast milk, all of my kids the breast milk for the entire, you know, 1 to 2 years or however long, you know, that they needed it for. So that's why I was determined, definitely with Macy, I was like, I'm not going to do that again. I'm definitely just going to keep at it. I want to do this. I want to give her the nutrition that she needs, you know, that's so much better with the breast milk that, you know, with all the mother's nutrition. And breast milk is amazing. You know, if the baby, so basically if the baby is, you know, getting some sort of sickness or something, it's like the breast milk changes to give the baby what it needs. So it will change in order to give the baby the nutrition, like what nutrients are in it. It'll give, you know, the baby more of one vitamin, less of another or whatever. It will, you know, change the ratios of the nutrition in the milk based on what the baby needs at that time. So breast milk is amazing. It's awesome. So I just wanted to do that for my children and wanted to give them the best, you know, possible start in life. And how I feel now is like, you know, I want to breastfeed my my son. You know, I want him to get breastfed. And back to the feelings of, you know, being over this and done with this just come up again, that, oh my God, I still have to go through this all over again. And you know, it's going to be another couple of years of my life that I won't be able to do the things that I want to do, and I won't be able to just take off and just leave and, you know, do those kind of things, because I'm going to have a baby pretty much literally attached to me, you know, constantly. So that is just like some of the things I'm going through. The other things I'm going through with it is financially, you know, obviously having a baby and a child, bringing another human into this world is, you know, very expensive. Struggled a lot financially when we first moved out of state from California. And that move, you know, took a lot, because it cost us about 10 grand just to move our stuff. And so we basically accumulated a lot of debt. We also had an audit with the IRS, what really threw us for a loop. So that was the first time we ever got audited, and we owed them $20,000. So we were in a lot of financial debt at the time. And what happened is I finally, you know, now, I mean, I'm not done paying off that debt, but that was like 5 years ago or so. So like 4 or 5 years ago is when we got audited, and then we got into that debt, and then, you know, the new payment of our house, and then we bought a car, Chevy Tahoe, and then just debt kind of accumulated. So then we had, you know, debt with we bought furniture for our new house. We had to buy a refrigerator, things like that. So debt accumulated, and then we ended up being, you know, in debt and struggling to kind of pay these bills. And that was super stressful, you know, trying to pay all that off and get out of debt, and also take care, you know, of our children, take care of our children, and me still having to work full time. So that was really, really hard. And this is, you know, I'm finally about to pay off all the debt, and I will be completely debt free. I mean, my husband and I won't be completely debt free. I mean, we obviously still have our mortgage of our house, and we do have some other things, but we were getting close to about being debt free and paying off. I'm very close to paying off the debt I got a loan in order to pay the IRS audit. We got audited on our taxes. And so in order, I almost was about to pay that off. So basically I'm at that point where I'm about to pay it off. I'm feeling great. I'm, you know, really good at saving my money. So I was about to save, you know, a bunch of money, because all that money, it was a huge chunk that was going out just to pay back this IRS. So it was a huge chunk, and I was about to just pay it all off. The debt is about to be paid off this year. So I'm very, very happy about that. But then on the flip side, now I have a baby. Now I feel like I'm going to go back into debt again because now I have this new baby that's about to enter my life. And financially, it's going to be another struggle because I'm going to have to take time off of work. So again, this is all stuff that's going through my mind and why I, am having a really hard time with being pregnant again and having another child because of, there's a lot that goes into this. And finances is one too. So the finances is, scary because it's like, how are we supposed to, pay for everything? And I'm going to need time off. And it's so stressful. I've done this with pretty much all my kids where I've worked all my life. And when I have a child, I don't just take time off and I'm just done. And I've never been like a stay-at-home mom. I mean, I've been a stay-at-home mom because I work from home and I have my kids, but I don't work and my husband take care of the bills and I just take care of the children. We've always had, where it feels like another debt we'd have to pay where I'd have to work in order to help chip in and pay for, our debts or utilities or whatnot or whatever we need, to stay afloat and stay alive. So I've always had to go back to work. And since I work from home, I usually had my kids with me too because daycare is super expensive. And so, I always just had my kids with me at home, but I would be working from home and taking care of my kids. And it's just so overwhelming and so much to have to do both, and very frustrating to not be able to just focus on one or the other completely. And so that is another thing that is running through my mind again with this new baby is what am I going to do again? How am I supposed to do this over again? Because I just can't. I'm done. I'm so tired. I'm my last year of being in my 30s and I just want to start relaxing more and enjoying life and not just being so stressed out all the time. And so that's another thing that I'm worrying about in my mind, thinking is how are we supposed to pay for our finances again when I'm off of work, because I just can't do it again. I can't have a newborn and have 3 other little kids running around and trying to take care of everybody, plus try to focus on working as well and trying to work, full-time or even part-time. It's just really hard. And then the other thing, the last thing that's kind of really bugging me about this is my son, Jace, he's 6 and he was diagnosed a year ago with type 1 diabetes. So that has been very exhausting for us too, to be managing his diabetes, because diabetes doesn't go away at night. It doesn't sleep. It doesn't leave. You don't get a break from diabetes. So, it's a constant monitoring. It's a constant checking on him. It's, you never really get full rest. So that is another thing that is scary, is that, okay, now I have to also make sure that I keep my son, healthy and, alive, and also have now a newborn. And so with diabetes, he can go his blood sugars could go super low at night or too high, and you have to manage that. It's not like it's bedtime, everybody, let's go to bed, turn off the lights, and then don't worry about it in the next, till the morning. That's not how it works. You have to constantly make sure that you're checking his numbers. And if he goes too low, we have to wake our son up and give him some sort of sugar source to get his blood sugar back up. Because if he goes too low, he can go into a coma and he could die. That is the reality of it. And so that is super scary to think about, and knowing that could happen. And also now bringing in a newborn. So it's just so much, overwhelming on my shoulders, stress to think about having to manage all of that, or if he's too high, then we have to give him an insulin shot. We have to give him an injection in the middle of the night. And we have to, get up and draw out of a syringe and just do all this stuff to wake ourselves up, and then not getting any more sleep. So it's already exhausting at times. It's not like that every single night with him, but it can be very exhausting. And, it could be where a lot of times we're waking up and we're having to either give him an insulin injection, or we're having to wake him up to give him sugar. And so then also I'm thinking, how am I supposed to deal with that on top of now having a newborn? And a newborn, is, obviously you have to wake up with them, every couple of hours to feed them or take care of them. You're not getting sleep. So this is just like, whoa, this is so overwhelming, and how am I supposed to deal with this all? So those are pretty much the three things that I have been trying to deal with emotionally and cope with. And this is why this was an unwanted pregnancy. And I'm still dealing with all these emotions and feeling horrible about it, because this is my baby regardless. It's still my baby, and I do love him. I do love him, and I do want him now. But in the beginning, it was really hard because it was like just such a shock. And but now that I am getting a little bit farther along, I'm starting to feel a little bit better about the pregnancy, and feeling like everything's gonna work out, and feeling that love for my baby more now. So in the beginning, honestly, I didn't feel that. I felt very worried, anxiety, stress, like this isn't right for this baby and for me, so that's why I did contemplate abortion at the time. I did. And a lot of women, I don't hear this a lot, a lot of women talking about this. So this is kind of why I wanted to talk about it a little bit, because we're all human. We go through different emotions, we go through different feelings. And so I was like really also nervous about having depression afterwards, having the baby and then being depressed. So all these kind of things kind of just were going through my head when I'm like, oh my God, I'm pregnant, what should I do about this? So that's kind of all the things that in my life, specifically what I'm going through and what I'm dealing with. And this is why it was a very hard, in the beginning, to figure out what should I do. Should I keep the baby or should I not keep the baby? But in the end, I decided to keep the baby because I just couldn't do it. I don't know. I probably couldn't live with the guilt of, if I didn't go through with the pregnancy. So I just decided to do that, and just, think that everything's going to work out. And for some reason, this baby is entering our life for some reason. So that's why I decided to keep on with it. But there's still worries, there's still fears, there's still things that are going through my mind. And those are all the kind of the things that I have been, thinking about and trying to cope with emotionally. And there are some good days, there's some bad days. Some days I feel really, blessed and fortunate, and I'm really happy and excited to meet my son. I'm very excited and like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm glad I'm having another baby. And then other days I'm just feeling like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe I'm pregnant again. I can't believe I have to go through all this again. And I honestly feel angry. I feel mad, about it. I feel, overwhelmed and stressed and anxiety. Those are all the kind of things that pop up, but they come and they go. And that is just normal life. It's normal for us to feel certain emotions like that. We're human. That happens. But, it's something I wish was just completely gone. It's weird because I've never had those kind of emotions and feelings with my other children, because I wanted them. They were planned. All my children were planned, and I wanted them. So I never had those feelings of, oh my gosh, I didn't want this pregnancy. I never had that. So this is something very new to me and different, and just kind of weird to deal with, dealing with emotions of feeling, one moment that, okay, I want this baby, I'm so excited and so happy. And the next moment, like, oh my God, I don't want this baby. I don't want this to happen. I don't want to have to go through this again. Those are the things that I'm actually feeling though. And they are subsiding a little bit more, I think, as time goes on. And I'm feeling the baby kick now that I'm 20 weeks. I felt the baby kick first when I was 18 weeks. But now, I'm feeling those kicks. They are very subtle still. They're not really strong, but I feel like they're getting maybe a little bit stronger. But they're, still very subtle. But it's still amazing to feel that. And so I'm starting to feel more of a connection with my baby. And when I go to this ultrasound for my 20 weeks, I feel like I'll have even more of a connection. So as time goes on, that bond will definitely get stronger. But just dealing with the initial shock in the beginning was just really, really tough because of all the reasons that I had mentioned before. So another thing that I'm actually dealing with is gender disappointment. That is another thing that happened when we went to our elective ultrasound at 14 weeks and we found out it was a boy. I really was thinking that it was going to be a girl. when I was kind of, you know, figuring out why did this happen? Why am I pregnant? I was thinking, you know, maybe it's to give my daughter a sister. You know, she's 3, and she's very girly, into all like playing with dolls and makeup and all those kind of things, you know, girl stuff. Very, very, very girly. And she has her 2 older brothers, but they're just like 2 peas in a pod. Those 2 boys are, you know, pretty much inseparable, and they do everything together, and they do all their boy kind of things. And I mean, she plays with them too, but she's also into her girly things, you know, the dolls and then the Barbies and all those kind of girl shows, which my boys are not into. So they're not into that, and she's kind of now by herself trying to play with all these things. So I was really, you know, thinking maybe this is to give her a sister, and this will work out great because now she has a little sister to play with. And, you know, the boys have, you know, they do their thing, and then the girls do their girl thing. So that's kind of what I was thinking in my mind, and thought it's got to be a girl then. It's got to be a girl because, you know, it just makes sense. It just makes sense. Maybe that's what this is, you know, for why I got pregnant. But then when we found out that it was a boy, I was disappointed, honestly, because I just thought, okay, what are we going to do now with the boy? It's just so unbalanced. It felt so unbalanced. It was like 2 brothers that hang out together, you know, and then the little sister, and then now a little brother. So, you know, it's like now it just seems kind of off and unbalanced. And, you know, and then also my daughter Macy, she really wanted a little sister. She keeps asking, I want a little sister, I want a little sister. So, you know, now we have a little brother coming, which is, you know, of course we're going to love him when everything's, you know, when he's here, and it will work out, you know, but it's just the initial disappointment of feeling like, you know, oh my gosh, you know, now we're not going to have that like 2 little girls, and they are doing their girl stuff together. So Macy's kind of now in the middle of boys, you know, she's got older brothers and now a younger brother. And she does have a sister, but her sister's 18 now, so she's an adult, and obviously she's not really in their lives very much. She's grown doing her thing. So that really is, she's pretty much off the table, you know, with having like the sisterly things to do. So now it's just kind of a bunch of boys and, you know, 1 girl in the middle. So I dealt with, you know, that gender disappointment, you know, feeling just, oh, I wanted a girl. I really wanted a girl. I just really wanted to have those little girls be able to do their girl thing and play and watch their shows. And, you know, she's always asking me, Mommy, can you play with me? You know, Barbies and this and that and toys. And she always wants, you know, all the girl things. Let me do your makeup and all that. And she wants to do that stuff with me, you know, which is fine. I like doing stuff with her, but, you know, I'm still the mom. I'm older. I'm not going to just sit there and play with her with toys all day long. So, you know, it's just like, it was very disappointing in the beginning. And then, you know, trying to deal with those emotions, I was like, why am I so upset over this? Because, you know, in the beginning I was just like shocked and initially disappointed, and I'm thinking, okay, it's gonna go away, you know what I mean? It's my child either way. Of course I'm gonna love my baby whether it's a boy or girl. That's not, you know, super huge to me, but just I think it's just so disappointing because you envision. I envisioned before that point of going in, I just totally envisioned, you know, 2 little girls, you know, my daughter and then my newborn baby, them just playing and doing all the girl things together, and her playing dress up with her and just doing all those things. I just envisioned it. So I just really had that in my mind up until that point, and that's why I think it was just so disappointing. And then so I was trying to figure out, how do I get, you know, these feelings, how do I, you know, cope with these feelings and change them around? And so I dealt with that for a while, and I read about it because, you know, I just felt like, God, I'm such a horrible person. Why am I feeling this way? But honestly, it is actually a common thing, you know, when I read about it, that a lot of women do go through that gender disappointment. And, you know, because they are envisioning, that's what they are thinking, maybe that thing that they wanted to do, you know, maybe they pictured playing baseball with their son, or playing girly dress up things with their daughter, you know, things like that. And so when that vision that they had, you know, was like, you know, okay, now we're not going to have that, then it is very disappointing. So, you know, that's kind of how I was feeling. And now I'm getting over it, though. I'm definitely getting over it. I feel better, but it did last for a month, I want to say, where I was just really like, okay, why is this happening? You know, have this unwanted pregnancy, and now I have gender disappointment, and now I just feel awful. You know, like, you know, it's just like, why is this happening? That everything just feels like it's, you know, not going the way that it should go. But you know, these, I feel like we're all human. We all have emotions, and the best way to deal with them is to acknowledge them, you know, to talk about them, to acknowledge them, to say, hey, I'm upset about this. Hey, I'm scared about this. Hey, you know, I have anxiety over this. To say that, to acknowledge it, and then try to move forward on it. That is the way that we're going to deal with it. Because if we try to hold it in and pretend like everything's fine and say it's fine, you know, nothing's wrong, then that's when problems really do fester and create a bigger problem, because you're just trying to fool yourself and holding it back. So really, the best way, and I've read about this, you know, and I feel like it does work, the best way to deal with your emotions is to actually acknowledge that they're there. To say that, okay, I am feeling upset about this. I am upset about this, or I am scared about this, or I do have anxiety about this. And just acknowledge that they're there, and then from there, you know, move on. So, you know, easier said than done, but that's what I've been practicing. And I think it definitely has worked, because I have acknowledged all of my feelings, all of my emotions. And I think that definitely has helped me to move on and, you know, be happy and be excited now about this new adventure that we're about to go on with this new baby. So that's what I'm, you know, still working on. It still comes and goes. And I feel like a lot of it obviously is, you know, pregnancy, your hormones are changing, you know, things are going on different. So there are times where I'm just feeling really down about everything and just feeling really upset and like, how's this going to work out? And the other times I'm just so joyful and just so happy and just like so like blessed and feeling I'm so grateful and so thankful that I actually have my kids and I have the ability to have another child. And, you know, because a lot of women don't, you know, a lot of women have the opposite problem where they're sitting here talking about how they wish they could get pregnant and how, you know, they're having those fertility problems. And so I'm very thankful and very blessed that I have children, that I'm able to have children, and I was able to have them, you know, naturally and not have to go through all that, because a lot of women are going through that. So I try to count my blessings. I try to be very positive when I can, and just think about all the things that are really good in my life. That's how I try to get over my feelings and cope with all that, you know, of all the negative things that do pop up. And they will, you know, they'll pop up, you know, but the way, you know, I'm dealing with it is to just make sure that I acknowledge it. And then what I do is I also have a gratitude journal that I like to write in. And I like to write down, you know, everything that I'm grateful for, because there is a lot to be grateful for. Very, very much so. I have a lot to be thankful for, great things to be thankful for. And so I want to try to focus my energy on those type of things. So that is the best advice and tips I think I can give you guys if you guys are going through anything like that, is to definitely acknowledge it. Acknowledge your feelings. That is very important, because they're real and they're there, and you don't want to just try to mask them up, because it'll make you more angry. It'll make you more mad. It'll make you feel those feelings even stronger, because you're trying to suppress them. You don't ever want to try to suppress them. You do want to, you know, talk to somebody like a friend, you know, or just, you know, to yourself, maybe out loud or on a camera or something, you know, just get it out to somebody that you can, and, you know, acknowledge that those feelings are real. And then after that, you want to try to move forward by, you know, writing in a journal or saying out loud or in your mind or whatever you want to do. Acknowledging all the good things in your life, all the positive things. What is it that you have to be grateful for? Because there is always something that somebody can find that they are grateful for. There's always something they could do. So once you start thinking about that now, think about all these wonderful things in my life that I am very thankful that I have, then it kind of helps you to move on, and you can move on to the next stage in your life. That definitely helps. So that is what has helped me. That's what I have been doing. The feelings are still there. Like I said, they come and go. So not going to say that you're going to completely be fine and everything's going to be over with. but it definitely helps to cope with your emotions and feelings if you are in some sort of similar situation as me, you know, with some unwanted pregnancy and dealing with those type of emotions. So those are my tips on that. So that's pretty much what I have for my 20-week update right now. I'm feeling, like I said, the baby like move a little bit more. Not really much has changed since my 18-week update. Pretty much the same. I still get nausea here and there. I still get those horrible hunger pains. So that's pretty much what's been happening. Headaches, maybe not as much. And let's see what else has been happening. Oh, another thing that has been there actually for a while, really, since the first trimester, is shortness of breath. I get shortness of breath a lot. Just sitting here talking to you guys, I'm getting shortness of breath. You know, anything, so that is one thing that's really hard. I just feel like I'm out of breath a lot. Just trying to talk, it's just out of breath. So, you know, just sitting here out of breath. So that's one thing that I am also dealing with as well. But other than that, I think things are still going pretty good. I'm feeling the baby a little bit more now, move around, and now I'm excited to go in for my 20-week ultrasound scan that's going to be coming up this for that update. That is it. And don't forget to leave me a comment. Go ahead and like this video and subscribe. And also don't forget to hit that notification bell next to the subscribe button so you can get notified each time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Here's my 20-week baby bump.